if you are getting for 10, 20, that's too expensive because
yeah, they use a 100 user version to get started with. Right. But it's only $400 or something, so it's really kind of cheap.
$400 a month or
another one time for the platform.
Because I remember that was something that I couldn't approve.
It's probably because you didn't really know the value of it. You didn't know what it was for. Once one understands, you can actually charge the customer maybe $50 a month. Right?
Microphone open.
Yeah.
All right, so we are just waiting for some of that attendees to join. We'll start the presentation in a few minutes. So we have here Robert and Doris. We were discussing about some benefits of ACS and how it can benefit customers. Robert, you saw some very interesting case during your trip to Europe.
Yeah, I actually went to CeBIT in Germany, and we saw, it's general communications trade show, but one of the partners of ours, DrayTek, had a beautiful booth. We spent half a day there. But more important, I actually went with some of DrayTek's European distributors. We actually went to the Holland distributor, who was only 2.5 hours away from the German distributor, or where the show was. And that was very fascinating because, it's good for us from an American standpoint to just see European companies, how they're built, how they're managed, and it was amazing how the job they did with DrayTek and how popular DrayTek was over in Europe. Today, Mia is going to present us ACSSI, and which we're introducing here, and which is from a management point of view, a great tool. But you always don't know how scalable it is. Well, I got a first-hand experience at the DrayTek distributor in Holland. They had working with some of the service providers. They actually had a 28,000 nodes platform, which I saw, and while they were actually showing it to me, it's a multi-tenant, we actually saw like another 100 nodes going active just in that hour. So it was quite impressive. And it's carrier class, CR69. Mia will tell us a lot more about it. But it was really nice to see in your own, and have your hands on it, of seeing like almost 30,000 users. Right? We also saw a couple more direct, like our own, like ABP's ACSSI. We probably have like 60 people on it. Right now, that's only for demo purposes, for people to experiment it before they actually get their own, because it's a private cloud solution. So every company has their own and manage it themselves, and it is multi-tenant as well here. So so I saw probably another 2 or 3 of those. They're internal ones. It was very exciting. I mean, it's very popular, very well done. So you're one of our customers. What's your experience with DrayTek here, since we have a little chance to chat? I think we've got like 2 more minutes, but 1 more minute until Henry officially gets started.
Yeah, I started using DrayTek probably about a year ago. And in business, I used to have 2 or 3 appliances to control the whole network. Now I can do just the DrayTek, and it's working really well. Customers don't call me. I don't have to restart browser, and web filtering really works good. I like it.
It's nice to have a real testimonial from a real customer. Yeah, I think we're on time now to almost get started.
Yes, we can. We don't want to be. We don't want to have a late start and late finish. So let's start right now, so we can let you guys go to your other activities later. Welcome everyone. This is Henry Castillo, Technical Director at ABPTech. Thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate that you take the time to listen, but I believe it's going to be a very informative and interesting presentation for you. We have Robert Messer, ABPTech President, here with us. He will comment on some of the topics. The main presenter would be Mia. Mia is the SME, or subject matter expert for DrayTek, and I would say is the person who knows DrayTek better than anybody in America. Mia, the floor is yours. You can start the presentation.
Thank you, Henry, for the introduction. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. So let's start by taking a look at what we will be covering in today's webinar. So first, let's start with what makes DrayTek the perfect business router for SMBs. as well as a great CPE for MSPs and multi-site deployments. Then we will explore the popular DrayTek product families in detail, followed by an introduction to the central access point management feature that makes DrayTek the perfect SMB wireless solution. We will also discuss the private cloud remote management solution from DrayTek that makes it easy to manage thousands of DrayTek routers. This is the feature that Robert was talking about at the beginning. And if time permits, we will have a demo of the popular 2925 router and see the features that we discussed through the presentation. We will end with a Q&A session, so don't forget to send your questions through the chat window. We also have DrayTek's engineer, Henry Lowe, on the line, as well as Henry Castillo, our CTO, is taking questions. And if you're watching the recording, you can email me your questions at mia@abptech.com. So let's talk about why we love DrayTek so much. DrayTek offers enterprise features to SMB customers at a great price point, and in a single box with no additional modules that need to be installed. They have regular firmware upgrades, free firmware upgrades that add features regularly to their routers, so there is no hidden licensing cost. And the learning curve for DrayTek routers is quite small, and you won't need any special technicians for the job. You can learn how to use your DrayTek yourself. Once you get comfortable with this interface, they add a few other management features so that you can, through one box, you can manage your other DrayTek routers, you can manage your access points through a central router, you can manage even switches now. So all this makes for really great features and great value for SMB customers. Also, they have their own private cloud management software that's great for service providers. It lets you manage thousands of DrayTek routers through one centralized location, and we will take a look at that later. So what we love about DrayTek is they are really good for redundancy. They guarantee your connectivity to your ISPs. If one of them fails, if one connection to your ISP fails, then you have a multitude of options. DrayTek routers can operate in the backup as well as load balancing mode. They support a variety of type of connections such as VDSL, ADSL, cable, 3G, 4G modems. So you're always connected. And I think that is the biggest advantage of owning a DrayTek router, because your WAN connectivity can be a single source of failure, especially for SMBs. A lot of SMBs still continue to use single WAN routers. And considering the number of cloud applications that SMBs use nowadays, it's really essential that you have redundancy for your WANs.
Mia, let me interrupt a second. We have a customer that sent a question. I forgot to tell everyone. There is a chat tool or a question tool in the GoToWebinar. So if you have any question, just send it through the chat and we'll take it and answer. The question I got right now is, you mentioned VDSL, ADSL, Ethernet. I think it supports gigabit Ethernet. The customer was asking about fiber. Is there any router with a fiber interface?
Yes, DrayTek have their own fiber models. They have 3 models for single WAN, dual WAN, multi-WAN. And we can take a look at those later when we are looking at the product families. But yes, it supports fiber. Okay. Okay, so now this multi-WAN failover and load balancing offered by DrayTek routers is complemented by their powerful route policies. You can have detailed rules in your route policy. So if you want to send your VoIP traffic over one of your WANs and your data traffic over another WAN, or if you want to send your VPN traffic over a WAN 3 but not on WAN 1, you can do all that with the route policies. You can also fail over to other route policies. You can set priorities, and I mean, it's really flexible and powerful. The other feature offered by DrayTek's higher-end models is high availability. It's great for hardware redundancy. So if one of your router fails, there can be a slave that can take over. If the power fails or the WAN connection fails, the slave can take over the configuration of the master router, and you can ensure business continuity. Another feature that's not mentioned here, but I'd like to add, is inbound load balancing. So you can also load balance your DNS queries over your different WANs if you're having web services running in your network. Then one more feature that is great for redundancy is VPN trunking. So DrayTek routers are known for their VPNs, and they have really good throughput and hardware coprocessors. The additional feature that they offer is you can have, especially for remote offices connecting to headquarters, you can have one VPN over one ISP, and you can have a backup VPN connecting to your remote office over a second ISP. So if the first one fails, the backup will be dialed out automatically. Or you can load balance between two VPN connections or even more VPN connections in that VPN trunk. So all this makes this perfect for business continuity. The second set of features I would like to discuss is DrayTek's comprehensive security features. DrayTek focuses a lot on security. They have regular upgrades, and they are really responsive with their security upgrades. Also, they offer a very robust firewall. It's an object-based firewall, and it can be complemented with user management so you can control your users' access to the internet. You can control your remote dialing users. It can also authenticate with a radius server. So the firewall and the user management can be combined to create flexible policies and schedules. This is also complemented by the content security management features from DrayTek. So they come with an optional web category filter. It's provided by a third-party service, Comtouch, and that lets you filter out websites, and the categories for these websites are maintained in real time. So, for example, you want to filter Facebook or all social networking websites. You can do that with a web category filter. It also has a built-in URL filter that can filter based on keywords and stuff, and DNS filters are great for filtering HTTPS websites. Then they have the app enforcement, which it can filter applications such as peer-to-peer, and you can filter messenger applications or torrents. And all these can be applied to the firewall policies that you have configured or to your user management. So you can specify which users the content security management policies will be applied to, when they will be applied based on the schedules. You can base these rules on IP addresses or users. So overall, this makes for a very powerful security solution. As I mentioned earlier, they have comprehensive VPN support. They are known for their VPN gateways. And depending on the model, they can support up to 50 to 200 VPNs simultaneously, great throughput. All kinds of popular protocols are supported: IPsec, PPTP, L2TP, SSL. And they have VPN trunking. And also, we will see later, as you all know, it's complicated to configure IPsec VPNs and troubleshoot them. And DrayTek has tried to make it easy for beginners. They have drag-and-drop tools. They have that automatically establish a site-to-site IPsec VPNs between two routers. Then they have denial of service defense. As you know, DOS attacks and DDoS attacks are the biggest threat to your availability. And DrayTek has an ability to set various thresholds so that the router can detect when it's under one of these attacks. And these thresholds are configurable. So depending on your network traffic, you can tweak them a little bit to make sure that the router detects an attack every time. It also has...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Before you move on from security, let me send you another question that is related. I have Alex from Waco asking about the licenses. He mentioned that sometimes it becomes expensive when you add the license for web content filter, and I mean from other vendors from his experience, and he's asking if you can just block a simple URL. When do you need to pay the license?
The license in this case for DrayTek, they have really simple licensing requirements, and the only license that you require is for the web category filter, since that's a third-party service. But if you want to filter based on URLs or DNS filters and app enforcement, that does not require a license. And even with the web category filter, the license is not very expensive. It's just around maybe $40 or $50 annually for the router, and unlimited number of users.
Thank you.
All right.
We also want to update the information for the SSL VPN. We actually provide free software for PC and Android phones. You can download the PC version for SSL Tunnel on the websites. And for Android app, it's available on Google Play. You can Google DrayTek Smart VPN Client on the Google Play, then you can download it for free to establish the
That's great information.
tunnel.
Thank you, Henry. That was Henry Low, the DrayTek engineer from Taiwan. So moving on, I was talking about the wireless security. They have a lot of features. They have all the accepted security protocols, and they support WPA, WPA2, and they even have support for the older WAP. And they have, you can have MAC address control. You can have, I think, you can filter out based on MAC addresses. Okay, so let's talk about the simplicity in configuration. This is something that we really love about DrayTek, and they keep adding these features with their free firmware upgrades. So I think the best features added in 2014 were the central VPN management and the central AP management. And we will look at that, look at these when we have the demo. So what these do is, as I was mentioning earlier, for people who are not very comfortable with establishing IPsec VPNs between site-to-site connections, the central VPN management is just a single-click configuration. So if you have two DrayTek routers in two different sites, all you need to do is set up centralized VPN management. It's just one setting in your client router, and the client router will come and register itself to the server, to the CVN server. And after that, setting up an IPsec VPN is just a matter of a single click. The central VPN management also lets you manage all your remote routers through a single centralized interface. And depending on the model, it can manage from 8 to 20 different routers, remote routers. It lets you upgrade firmwares and download configurations for the routers, even map them on a Google map. So it's really useful. The central AP management is somewhat similar, except that it lets you manage 20 access points in your network through your central router. So you don't have to manually configure every access point. The access points receive the IPs as soon as they're plugged in from the central router, and after that they can be easily managed from that central location. And all this is available for free in your DrayTek router. Beyond that, if you have a multi-site deployment with hundreds or thousands of DrayTek routers, then we suggest using the ACS centralized management solution from DrayTek. It's much more powerful than these features that we discussed before. It can easily manage up to 1,000, and it can manage thousands, like Robert was talking about. Vodafone in Europe have like 20,000 routers that they're managing through a single ACS interface. So we will go over the details of the ACS a little later. Another really powerful feature about DrayTek routers is the VoIP QoS. As most of us are aware, it's not that easy to set up QoS to our satisfaction, and VoIP being time sensitive, it needs QoS to make sure that it's not, to make sure that it receives enough bandwidth, and the bandwidth is not being completely used up by all the other non-time sensitive applications. Now, in DrayTek routers, you have all the options to manually set up QoS if you're very familiar with it, but if you're not, they have a single click setting where it can, once you set it up, you can, the router automatically detects the SIP traffic. Based on the SIP traffic, it detects the following media RTP traffic. And once it detects the traffic, it can allocate bandwidth enough for 2 VoIP calls. If it detects more VoIP calls, it allocates more bandwidth. So that way, it makes sure that your VoIP calls always receive first priority over all the other traffic. And this is a great feature, and we love it because this was developed with ABPTech's help, and since we have a lot of customers for VoIP, and we've tested it and we love it. It's really good.
Yeah. Let me add a little bit. On that, since we consider ourselves experts in the voice over IP arena. This is a very nice feature, and a lot of customers like it. Especially the dynamic part. The router has this algorithm, special algorithm that we call VoIP QoS, that it will reserve enough bandwidth for the next 2 calls. So if you don't have calls, then the bandwidth is available, but it dynamically starts reserving bandwidth for the next. So for the next call at the start, it will be enough bandwidth for it. And that's a very nice feature. Sometimes other routers might take a while before they can adjust the QoS settings for new sessions. Therefore, you may have bad audio quality. So DrayTek has implemented this, and we have a lot of customers happy with that. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's talk about DrayTek's wireless solutions. What we really liked was the new feature that was launched in 2014, which is the centralized access point management. So with this feature, your existing DrayTek router can turn into a wireless controller to manage up to 20 access points in your network. Now, these access points can be configured on their own, they're intelligent, but if you wish to simplify your wireless network management, all you need to do is plug in the access points in the network. The DrayTek router will assign them their IP addresses, and after that, they can be completely configured and managed from the router itself. There's no need to log into the access points anymore. So this is really a great solution for SMBs, because then there's no need to purchase expensive wireless controllers, and especially with these wireless controllers, they are not always compatible with your existing network infrastructure, and there's a steep learning curve for these kind of wireless controllers. So since you are already familiar with your DrayTek router, it really makes it easy to implement the wireless solution. Also, they offer concurrent dual band 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz support. So now that the 2.4 gigahertz band is getting crowded, it's subject to a lot of interference. So if you have any sensitive applications, sensitive wireless applications, you can make sure they use the 5 gigahertz band and get better performance. DrayTek is also announcing, I think, in a few weeks, and Henry Lowe can confirm their AC models. So that's something else to look forward to.
Mia, this is Robert. I would like to interject something here, on the wireless that I think is really significant, and that is the fact that DrayTek actually started focusing on wireless and adding that to the router. In the past, if you wanted to have a decent wireless infrastructure in a company, you had to get a additional Wi-Fi wireless controller system, a box, an external device to handle your wireless. Here, what's really nice is that the same router does it all, so it provides that functionality of managing the wireless for up to 20 access points with a very inexpensive adjunct DrayTek access points that are actually already dual band that are available. There's also certain protocols that are used in handoffs, mainly by iPhones, tablets, Apple, laptops, et cetera, that are all supported by DrayTek. So the roaming, the airtime fairness, it really creates a whole new experience for users in wireless of a solid wireless infrastructure environment for a company. So actually, even just this wireless feature alone would justify a DrayTek router. So it's a very important addition, I think, a whole new facet that DrayTek helps the integrator resolve for clients.
I agree.
Mia, we have a couple of questions on wireless, so let me send to you. Maybe Henry can help. Henry Lowe is in Taiwan. They're asking, which access points are supported for the AP management feature?
Well, the AP 900, that's our dual band 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz AP. That is supported. It supports the full suite of AP management features. Then, apart from that, there's one more, a single band AP 810.
AP 810. Yeah.
That also supports AP management. I think your new AP also will support AP management, right? The full suite of all the features.
Yeah, the ceiling one supports AP management as well. Yes.
Okay. But, AP 900, we tested it ourselves. We have it in ABP technology, and it's working great for us. And it has the AP management feature can let you have AP load balancing and traffic graphs and really useful features to monitor your wireless. Go ahead.
And there's a very new model that is a ceiling, dish-looking discrete access point that is 802.11 AC AC, and that will be supported too.
Yeah.
And that's coming out like in May, so that's why we didn't talk about it very much. But it's it's AC dual band and ceiling mount. Looks very, very elegant, very discreet. I had some architect friends that when he saw it, he just loved it. He said he wants to put that in his all over his house, right? So that is a very nice unit coming out in about 3 months.
And it was announced last week at CEBIT, so it's a very new product, and but it will support that feature, and the lower end AP 810 will give you a nice portfolio to take on pretty much any Wi-Fi project that is on the small to medium range. Mia, there's another question. Maybe Henry can help with that too. Is that DrayTek make what weatherproof access points? That's from Jeremy.
Not at the moment, I believe. Do you have any
Not at the
plans,
moment.
Henry?
No, we don't have any. You mean like outdoor model, right? Outdoor. We don't have any outdoor model right now.
Okay. We can discuss the roadmap, and this is probably a good time to mention that we're going to have a manufacturer here in the U.S. Henry's coming, and we're going to have a few sessions, and we're going to have a certification training. We'll speak more about that later, but we are taking feedback. DrayTek is a very close partner and very fast to market manufacturer, and the feedback we get from you is going to go straight to product development. And we have Russell that wants to go back on track. Mia, continue, please.
Thanks, Henry. Okay, so let's take a look at the DrayTek product families. We have single WAN, dual WAN, and multi-WAN routers for Ethernet connections. The 2925 dual WAN router is probably our most popular model in the US, and that's the one we will be looking at in the demo. The 2960 is a great router for if you have about 200 VPNs. Henry, can you confirm that? It's supposed 200 simultaneous VPNs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's great as a VPN gateway. It has great features also. It supports a lot of advanced routing protocols, BGP, OSPF, EIGRP. The multi-WAN router 3900, it has 5 WAN ports, including one fiber port that can support your an SFP module, and it supports up to 500 simultaneous VPNs, and it has gigabit throughput for VPNs. And we also have the XDSL routers. We have routers that support ADSL, VDSL, 2+. 2860 is a great example. It has one Ethernet port for failback and one VDSL port that can fail back to ADSL. And also the fiber routers that that someone was asking about. So we have a single WAN fiber model 2132 FEN, and the popular 2925 also comes in a fiber version, and the 3900 as fiber LAN and WAN ports. Now, most of the dual WAN routers come in wireless versions, so they can support single WAN wireless. That would be the N series. So the 2925N is a 2.4 gigahertz wireless router. Then we also have the dual band wireless that supports the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz wireless bands. That's the 2925N plus series. So, and I believe there's also a 2925 AC router coming out, right, Henry? Yeah, there's an AC 2925 version and AC 2860 for 802.11 AC that can support really high speeds, up to gigabit wireless speeds. So we have the AP910C that's brand new. It's coming out in May. It's an 802.11 AC ceiling mount wireless access point. Now, it supports really high speeds. It can go up to 850 Mbps. It supports the full suite of APM features. We'll take a look at that a little bit later, but it can support load balancing and traffic graphs and disassociation and roaming, all these features through your central router. It has multiple SSIDs. It can support VLANs. It has bandwidth management for each SSID, so you can have separate guest and separate guest networks. You can have a separate network for your internal LAN. Make sure that the security policies are set correctly. They also, both the AP910C and the current AP900, they both support PoE. And they have built-in radius servers.
Yes, Mia. Yes, you were asking the 11AC 2925 and 2860. We will have AC models. Mm-hmm. They are 2x3 11AC. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have a time frame for those? When they will be available?
Around May, just like AP910.
Okay, great. That's great news. This is the feature that we were discussing.
Mia?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mia, sorry. We have a lot of questions, and if we don't get to answer your questions, we'll get back to you, or if we have time at the end. I'll send one more for you. Basically, from Jeff, can wireless routers best be set up as a client to bridge LAN to Wi-Fi?
I think the wireless routers can't, but the APs can. You mean the station infrastructure mode, right? Where the
AP can,
yeah, the AP can. APs can do that.
yes, and we had that request before. The solution is we put an APA10 in front of the router that works as a bridge.
Right, right.
So it becomes the WAN for the router.
Right.
Thank you. Let's move on, Mia.
So this is the access point management feature that we've been talking about that converts your existing DrayTek router into a mini wireless controller. It's available on the Dual WAN routers, 2925 and the 2860 VDSL router. Supports plug-and-play configuration for AP, so all you need to do is connect them to your network. They will get an IP, and once they get an IP from the router, a DHCP IP, you can configure and push out profiles to the access points individually or in batch mode that can configure all your 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz wireless settings, your security settings, SSIDs, bandwidth management settings. So all this from the centralized router. Now, in addition to that, the APM feature also lets you load balance between your different access points. I think we have some, yeah, we have a better image to show load balancing. So you can set up an overload condition on the access point. So if, say, the traffic exceeds the limit that you've set up, then the access point will no longer accept clients, and a client that is trying to connect to that access point will be sent over to the other access point in the load balance profile. There can also be a limit based on the number of stations. So if the access point already has the maximum number of stations allowed, then the incoming client will be sent over to another access point. Now, I
want to say that the traffic limit here, if you're already connected, you actually are allowed to use more than the limit. It's just the AP will stop accepting new clients. Yes.
It's the threshold that you will set for load balancing, right? So if it's not that the stations connected to the AP cannot go beyond this limit. It's just the threshold after which a new client will be sent over to another AP.
Yes.
Then you can also have disassociation settings. So if there are, if an AP has maximum number of clients or it has reached its traffic threshold, then you can set up different settings so that an existing inactive client on that AP can be disassociated. So it can accept a new client that is trying to connect. And this can be done based on signal strength. If a station signal strength is really poor, that it can be disassociated from the current AP, and it can try to join an AP with a better signal strength that is closer to. Or I think it's also based on inactivity. Now, access point traffic graphs are really useful. You can monitor your traffic on all the access points in your network from your central router. You can have daily graphs, weekly graphs. So let's talk about the DrayTek centralized management solution for multi-site deployments. It's based on the TR69 protocol. It can manage up to thousands of DrayTek routers. It has licensing based on the number of nodes, so you can have a 50-node license or a 100-node license, 500-node license. It lets you configure and monitor all the network devices in your networks based on the privileges that you set, so that you can have, it's a multi-tenant platform, so you can have different networks set up for your different customers. You can also set up who gets to change the configuration on those routers, or just you can set it as view only, just for monitoring purposes. So you have different network operator privileges. The best part about the ACS is the drag and drop VPN wizard. It's really cool. So you can see all your network routers in a nice graphical interface, and you can just drag and drop to connect, to create LAN-to-LAN PPTP or IPsec VPNs between them. You can also have advanced security features in the same interface. So that really simplifies VPN management. You can see all the locations of all your remote routers in a Google map for visual reference. Then you have detailed reports that you can create. So that's another revenue stream. You can create reports for your customers based on traffic, bandwidth usage. We will take a look at that if we get time in a demo. You can have alarms and you can have notifications sent to you through email when a customer's router disconnects or the VPN goes down or something. I mean, you have different options that are available. And I believe we also have an app now, right, Henry, for the ACS? So you can control.
Yes, for Android, it's more like a basic information and simple setup, not a very complicated one.
But you can monitor all your existing devices from that app. It's good for monitoring.
Information. Yes.
That's really useful.
Yeah, I sent for all the Android users, I sent the link to the app Play Store, so you can download the DrayTek apps that include the VPN client. Not needed. You can use the native client from the device, but you can use the DrayTek VPN client. You have the Vigor ACS SI client app, and you also have a Vigor Manager app. You can get it from Play Store.
And I'm sure we are planning more webinars that will go into more depth over how to configure the ACS and all the features that the ACS offers. We are pressed for time here, so we really barely scratched the surface for all these great features. Okay, so Henry, if you have any questions, we can take those right now, or I can start the demo. Okay, so this is the 2925 Dual WAN router that I have connected in my lab setup. As you can see, it has a really nice interface, a dashboard that lets you see all the status of all the ports that are connected, the USB devices that are connected to the router, and lets you see the IP addresses, MAC addresses of all the interfaces. Now this router has two WAN ports for load balancing or backup, and also two USB ports for a variety of applications. Now you can have a 4G LTE dongle in that USB as a backup WAN, or you can have a temperature sensor that I have connected here. This is a useful feature. You can monitor the temperature in your server room and have the router send you alerts if it exceeds a certain threshold. The WAN budget is a new feature, and it's useful if you're using the LTE dongle a lot because it lets you set a certain quota to make sure you do not exceed your plan limits on the 4G connection. Yeah, I don't have a dongle connected to this router at the moment. But the DrayTek routers support AT&T and Verizon routers, Verizon dongles at the moment. We've tested them in the US. So this particular model comes with 5 LAN ports. So you can have 5 different subnets set up on your LAN. You can have 8 different VLANs. You can either have port-based VLANs where each port can go into a separate network like this, or you can have 802.1q tag-based VLANs and have a trunk VLAN port. It's really easy to set them up. You can also divide your wireless SSIDs into different VLANs. So the configuration for VLANs is, I feel, it's really simple. If you want your different VLANs to have connectivity between each other and routing, it's easy to set up inter-VLAN routing. So once you have your VLANs enabled, you'll have the options to set up routing between LAN 1 and LAN 2 with just a simple checkbox. Now this is the load balance policy that I was talking about, the route policies. So say you have separate VLANs in your internal LAN. for your VoIP traffic and your data traffic, and you want to send out your data traffic over the WAN connection 1, and you want to send out your VoIP traffic on WAN connection 2, you can do this with the route policy. You can have different source subnets, destination IP subnets, and choose the WAN interface that you would like the traffic to be sent out to. Now notice that there's also the option to send it over a VPN. So for site-to-site VPNs, you can have only certain traffic from your LAN sent out over the VPN and not everything else. Now, if you send out traffic over WAN 1, but if WAN 1 has failed over to WAN 2, you can set up the action to take in this case with the failover setting. So if your primary interface has failed, the route policy can send it to your secondary that you choose here, or it can also send it to another route policy that you have configured. It lets you set priorities between different route policies to decide which one is matched and which one matches your traffic and which one is where the traffic is sent to based on the priority. And I believe very soon DrayTek is also releasing a very useful tool for route policies with which you can enter the source IP address and the destination IP address and check where the traffic will be sent to, which route policy is going to match that traffic. So they have a diagnostic tool that they're about to release for the route policies. Now DrayTek comes with a very robust firewall, like I discussed. It has an option to set up various objects, source IPs, destination IPs, ports, protocols, as well as users through user management here. So you can apply the user profiles that you have set. So if you want your manager to be allowed access to the net to all the websites, whereas you want to restrict the employees from accessing social networking websites, you can do that with user management.
Mia, let's try to finish. We're approaching the hour limit. A quick question on that was if the access point can be set up as a guest mode or time access mode, and let me answer that one. And in the previous page you just showed, you control all that from the router. So you pair the access point with the router, and the router is the one that will authenticate the client, and then you can assign time quotas. You can also integrate with external radios, or I think Active Directory server for that. It's very advanced. Very nice feature you can find only on some dedicated appliances. And you can do this. Yes, Mia showing you have specific landing page. But yeah, that answers the question I had from. You
can even set up your own portals to control what the users are shown, if they're blocked from a particular website, or if they're allowed a certain quota, time quota or data quota to access the internet. It's useful for hospitality applications. So what I would quickly like to show here is the central VPN management that I mentioned. So as you can see, I have another router connected to this 2925 through the CVM feature. So the VPN setup has been a single click, PPTP, IPsec, or some advanced options for IPsec security protocols. And that's all I need to establish a LAN-to-LAN VPN between these two routers. Now, if I were to do this manually, these are all the settings that I would need to set up for an IPsec VPN. But as you can see, the CVM has automatically created this profile for me with a single click. And it's useful for management also, so to management of the remote CPEs, so you can upgrade firmware and backup configurations. So it offers a lot of features there. The next feature I would quickly like to cover is the central access point management that we discussed in great detail. So I have two different access points connected to this router, to the network, to the LAN of this router, and they were assigned DHCP IPs by the router. And I was also able to push out the profiles that I configured to these two access points. So if I didn't configure a specific profile, they would be pushed out the default profiles, but I have configured a profile here, and it can be applied to all the access points in my network, individually or in batch mode. the traffic graph. That's very useful too for the access points. So when I have more than one access point in my network, I can quickly monitor the traffic that's being handled by each access point and make sure that all of them are being utilized. And if they're not, then I can set up load balancing, as I discussed, by station number or data limit, by traffic. I believe we've run out of time. Is there something you would like
yes,
to?
Yeah, let's
Go ahead, Henry.
You're done with the topics. We need to spend the last 5 minutes with a couple more questions. If you're done, let's
yes, I would have liked to show the central ACS management, but I guess we don't have time now, and we'll be planning a webinar soon just to focus on the ACS solution to manage thousands of DrayTek routers from a centralized interface. So we'll have a webinar on that.
Should we show at least on screen as a little teaser for the next time? Because
yes, so if you can show the screen.
We would want to see that, and we really were trying to get to that today.
Henry, do you have the link for the ACS?
Let me check.
We can discuss some of the questions in the meantime.
Yes, okay. Quick question from Alan is, and this will introduce the rest that we wanted to talk about, is do you offer special pricing for demo units? And we do have NFR, which is non for resale, special pricing, yes. And we do have promotions we run, and when we invite people for webinars or when we do training. Everybody that is interested and like this product line should take a look at the training. We have a special opportunity. We'll have a training, 2 sessions, free training for DrayTek in the month of April. DrayTek is sending a specialist that will conduct the training, and we'll have some hands-on, and we'll give out certificates. We'll have some special pricing for those that attend the training. If you have a special project and want to talk to us, you can always contact us, and we can discuss about the NFR pricing for you. Yeah, Mia showing the login that you can go. Make sure you register for the training. We have limited seating, and it's free. If we have enough people from the East Coast, we have one in Dallas, Texas, and one in the West Coast, in LA area. If we have enough people in the East Coast, we can schedule another session there. But please contact us. We are ABPTech is working close with you and with the manufacturer, and we take your feedback. We have a few more questions that we had. VPN management deal with dynamic IP at both ends of the link from Mary. We'll have to answer that. Robert, do you have some final words?
No, other than the fact that we still need to do another session on ACSI. I absolutely would recommend anybody who's interested in deploying DrayTek routers to join the training. There's a lot more to be seen. This product is phenomenal for resellers and MSPs because it gives you so much control. ACSSI, by the way, is a multi-tenant system, so you can host the private cloud management platform, but you can give access to sections of routers, the router trees, to the customer's IT department if you want to. So we've seen a lot of larger customers that have sort of this need from the company to be active and be able to make changes to their systems while at the same time wanting to have the reseller or the MSP helping them and controlling, right? And so there's some real good revenue opportunities by using DrayTek. And also, what's important, we kind of mentioned it, but DrayTek as a product, as compared to all the others in the market, is much easier to cost out and deploy because there's no extra user licensing. So basically, once you purchase the router, it's all included. The only thing there is that has a extra fee is the third-party subscription for content filter, which is also kept very simple because you only have a per router subscription for 1, 2 years or 3 years, so you can buy it up front, and then they can have as many users on it. So it's really designed to make it simple for the MSP or the reseller to deploy. And then, of course, you can, with that one platform, manage all your customers, and including the access points behind, et cetera, et cetera. There's just a lot more to be said. So I really would recommend to join the training, come and meet us there, and learn more about this product.
Yes, if you haven't done so, go to DrayTekUSA.com, and there you see the training and events. We have webinars. Somebody was asking if we can do more webinars, more specific training. Yes, we do. And we have at least one webinar a month, and if you have special requirements, we can discuss it. Don't go to DrayTekUSA.com. There you can go on your content register for events for webinars. Again, training in April in LA and in Dallas, Texas. Well, thank you, everyone. We want to go over the hour, and I think it was very informative. Some questions are still unanswered. I apologize for that. We'll reply to you offline, and we'll send you an email with the answers that you request.
Henry.
Other than that, thank you. Yeah?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Robert and Zoran. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.